refutation today is to Austin Oyster. His claim was that reducing the duration of copyright protection to pre-Sony Bono copyright terms extension act would not decrease creative output. My opponent's secondary claim for the first one was patents and copyrights are comparable protections, and yet copyright protections last 4 times longer. And then his second one was contents entering the public domain is necessary for expansion of creative works, and his third was entering into the public domain does not dramatically devalue existing works. So for the first one, where he says compared to patents, copyrights last 4 times longer, an article done by Stephen Carlisle states that from Northwestern University states that copyrights are only so long for only the people who like to pirate, and this is because going back to the copyright laws of 1909, it was 56 years of protection in total, and this is obviously greatly reducing the copyright of today, which is like 99 or like 100 years in total. But that still doesn't stop people from copyrighting different movies or TV shows. In total, out of the 1,021 available BitTorrent files, less than 1% on non-infringing. The 146 BitTorrent files are with infringing materials are recent movies that are usually Hollywood like blockbuster films. And none of these are movies like any like Marx Brothers movies or anything like that. So for his second claim, which was that it's necessary for these works to be out in the public domain. Copyright is not killing creativity, but in fact it's promoting it because it protects the person's original ideas, prevents others from stealing it and creating unoriginal ideas, and forcing individuals to create new ideas. So from the United States Copyright Office, what copyright protects is the form of intellectual property law that protects original work and authorship, including literary, dramatic, musical, and artistic work, such as poetry, novels, movies. The copyright doesn't protect facts, ideas, or systematic methods. And his third claim, which was that it devalues existing works, and this is very common sense, I guess. Entering work into the public domain may not directly reduce the value of the work, but however, you run the risk that your work will no longer be yours. And it's a possibility that you're giving it away to anyone who wants it and can use it as their own, making it free and worth no value. So if you were to make a movie and you don't put a copyright on it, anyone can download it and use it for free, and consequently you won't be making any money out of it, and it would be devaluing your work. And that's all. Thank you.
Well, structurally, you start off pretty strongly. By the end of the speech, you've answered the individual points, although the points, the responses that you come up with, I'm not sure automatically either apply or diminish the claim that the advocate's presenting. The first point, for instance, when you talk about the number of years that it's being protected and you contrast that to what it was previously, you basically make the argument that says people still need these copyrights, and that's the only thing that is protecting them. Then you make this argument that talks about BitTorrent streaming and piracy, and I appreciate that that is an issue. But all of those people would be in violation of the existing copyrights. They'd be in violation of copyrights even if they were, only 24 years, because, that's the new stuff that's being streamed. So I don't think your argument here applies to the issue that the advocate is talking about. They're different kinds of products that you're dealing with. On the second point, when it comes to public policy, you've got this general statement from the U.S. Copyright Office about what the function of copyrights are. The advocate argues that the problem is that the copyrights get extended well past the creative period of the originator or the artist or whoever it is, the author, in that particular situation, and as a result you get stifled creativity as a consequence. And if anybody could steal it immediately, then I think you would have the right point. But he's saying that it's not that, it's that 50 years after the person's dead, you're still protecting the copyright there, and nobody else can do anything with that particular idea or concept, and that does stifle creativity. Did we get a Disney example on this one? I'm trying to remember, because it seemed like that's where it came up. So I think there's a better argument to be made here that suggests that there's a continuing interest in products where there is continuing creativity. Sure, Walt Disney's been dead for 45 or 50 years, but his characters, for instance, have lived on, and they continue to be developed, but the only reason they're developed the way they are is because the copyright protection allows the Disney company to utilize and maintain exclusive rights over those. What's the hypothetical if somebody else has the right to use this? What would it do to the business model of Disneyland if suddenly some porn company decided Mickey Mouse was a great way to sell their product? And it would have this pretty negative consequence there, and it would destroy the creative uses in that direction. I think that might be an argument that you could make there. As it is, though, I think the advocate's argument here isn't really addressed by the points that you're making here. And I think that's the issue on most of the points. You kind of remind us what's good about the copyright laws, but it doesn't necessarily apply to the argument that the advocate's making, which is that the copyright laws exceed the need for what creates the good stuff, and as a result create some negative consequences. All right, thank you.